Collides is a dramedy about resilience, mindfulness, community, and the healing power of delicious food.
My show is about what is variously called the Los Angeles riots, uprising, revolution, the events in Los Angeles of 1992.
Family, gender, secrets, bagels. Want to add to that? And the collision of all of it, and in a comical and sad way.
The show is about identity and who we are and who we want to be and when that's in conflict with each other, but it's funny. And it's also just about feuds and ridiculousness and the way that we do and don't get along in places when we're all squished together in one small space.
Collides really came out of interviews that I was doing in Reading, Pennsylvania in 2015, specifically when I was working on my play Sweat. And I found that there were a large swath of people who I interviewed who were formerly incarcerated and who were trying to figure out how to reintegrate into the culture and having a very difficult time. One man who I met, his name was Dr. Will, and while he was incarcerated, he got his PhD in psychology, and he decided that when he came out of prison that he was really going to dedicate his life to uplifting the lives of others.
Ever since the early 80s, I've had a project which has been called On the Road, A Search for American Character. Twilight Los Angeles is a part of that. And my goal back in 1980, when I developed the method that I use, was to tell stories about America from multiple points of view, based on interviews. And so something like the Los Angeles uprising, riot, events in LA, I felt an important moment to chronicle because people would be having to reflect about race in other than usual ways. In trying to understand it, I knew they would be speaking in ways that would be worthy of the theater, that the language would be vibrant, that the people would be emotional, and that I would be able to portray these individuals by using what they said verbatim, word for word, and make the illusion that I was acting like those people, in large part because the language would be so invigorated by each person who was talking, trying to make sense out of something that was extraordinary.
Most people know, if they know the television show Transparent, this story is rooted in our very personal lives. Our parent came out as trans, and we're both creative people. I actually first saw it as a musical before it was a television show, because it's just a huge emotional story. Joey was smart and made a television show, but it comes from a very personal place, and we feel like the musical is still personal and small, but now encompasses history of transness. So that's where the story has leapt to.
It's a beautiful story about family that is complex and funny and has a lot of learning to do. And it's also a story about many generations of trans people, and trans rights are under attack right now, and our lives and stories have been erased from media and history. And so it's really important to me to tell for that reason.
I started with Los Angeles and just started thinking about things that are both important to me and I think are important in the city, and then are also hopefully universally important to anybody who comes to the show. So that's really where I start. I would start with a place, and I think about it. I wander around, honestly, listen to people, talk to people, until concepts and ideas start coming forward.